In this video, we're going to be working on this beautiful Art Deco walnut cocktail cabinet. I'll give you a quick look around and then I'll let you know what we'll be doing to it. The bones of the cabinet are really good, so there's going to be very little to be done in the way of repairs from my initial cursory inspection. We're going to be doing wallpaper on the inside, so all of that will be wallpapered. We'll refresh the hardware, give the mirrors a good clean. We'll rewire the lights so that it is up to modern standard and replace that with a modern LED bulb. And then coming down here, oh, as if by magic. And then that's going to be wallpapered inside as well. And that's the original maker's tag there. So Shoreline, George Serlin and Sons Limited. And then the outside, which is all this beautiful walnut veneer, that's all going to get stripped. All that old varnish is going to get stripped off. And we're going to refinish that with some Fiddy's hard wax oil. And that is just going to make that wood grain really pop. So, let's get started. As it is with all of these projects, I'm going to start by completely dismantling it so that I can work on each piece individually, give it a really good clean, make sure that everything is structurally sound, solid. Any repairs, it's just much easier to do it in pieces and parts. So, I've got my trusty Makita drill driver, my little pot to put all my screws and fixings in, and of course, screw head bits to be able to remove everything. Because these screws, because they're older screws, these are probably from what, the 1930s, they can be tricky little bastards sometimes. So if that doesn't work, I may have to go in with a screwdriver and do some of them manually, but fingers crossed, they'll all be pretty straightforward to remove today. Well, there's no better place to start than at the top. So I'm gonna need a fairly petite drill bit for those smaller ones. So I'm thinking that one's gonna be good. Right, all ready. I'm going to need to use a screwdriver. This is cool. So this cabinet was made in 1985, and also I don't know if you can see, impressed in there in the wood 1985. So this cabinet is the same age as me. That's my year of birth. My next job is going to be stripping the old finish off the cabinet. So for that, I'm going to be using this Paramount, which is very toxic. So I'm going to make sure that I've got my chemical proof gloves on and also a respirator, and it works super quickly, so it shouldn't take much time at all to get the old finish off these doors. So now I run my brush over it, I can already start to feel it getting sticky. So I don't know if you can see, but where that is starting to get sticky now because it's melting that finish. So see, look at that. So I'm just going to go in and sort of agitate it and add a little bit more just to penetrate any of those layers. So all that varnish there is coming away, and that's why you get all these sort of strands of finish pulling up when you agitate it. And by agitating it, you just get that layer of old finish up and get some of that chemical paint stripper down into the next layer of finish. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that for sort of 10 minutes and then we can scrape it back. I'm going to start scraping back this finish now. It looks like most of it is coming off, although it is a sticky, gooey mess. Any finish that is left on here will be easy enough to remove with some sanding. So you can see the difference there. Okay, I'm just going to start working on that second door now as well. To clean the stripper from the doors, I'm going to use a red abrasive pad and some methylated spirits. So I've poured some of that methylated spirits just into a little tub, and I'm just going to dip the sponge into that methylated spirits, and I'm just going to wipe that down. Once I've got that wiped down as much as possible, I'm just going to take some blue towel and wipe that clean. And then you just want to leave that to dry fully before you go in and sand it. Oh, right, that is me done stripping all of the outside of the cabinet. As you can see, I am a hot, sweaty mess now, but let me give you a quick overview. There's the base of the cabinet that's had all of that stripped, and there are all the doors there. So I'm just going to leave those overnight to dry out, and then tomorrow I can sand with probably 180 grit, because I've got most of that finish. Also 120 or 180, we don't need to start too rough. So that's going to be everything for today. Yeah, time to go home. Good morning. So today I am going to crack on with sanding down all of the outside. So that's now dried overnight. Don't worry about that like white residue on there. That'll go once I've sanded. So I'm just going to work on it piece by piece, same as I did yesterday with the stripping. I've got my sander and I've got 120 grit sandpaper on there. So that's what I'm going to start with. And I'm going to work through each of the pieces and the body itself. Now I'm waiting for the wallpaper to arrive, and normally I work from the inside out. So I'll start with wallpaper, then move to the trim, and then finish the outside with a hard wax oil. So I think today probably all we're going to be able to do is sand the outside, because I don't have the wallpaper to start on the inside and move out. I could actually work on the hardware, so I'll probably do that. Paint that gold, make sure that's all ready. Yeah, that's probably what I can do whilst I'm waiting for the wallpaper. So let's get going with sanding. I'm just going to give it a quick wipe down with some mineral spirits just to make sure I haven't missed any spots of varnish, that is. If there was still some varnish in places, it would be quite obvious. Once you spray the mineral spirits on and wipe it, it would be quite glossy, but that looks all right. I think that's all done. And the underside is sanded as well, prepped for glue and wallpaper. There we go, that bit's ready. On to the next one. My wallpaper has finally arrived. It's come all the way from America, and it's this gorgeous teal and gold Art Deco diamond pattern. And it's called Metropolis. So now that that's arrived, I can crack on with putting it all inside the cabinet and also on the inside of the top of the cabinet doors. So I'm going to be using my thicker contractor's glue. I've got a very sharp blade and just my glue brush here. So let's start by cutting the paper down to roughly the right size, and then we'll start pasting it onto the wood. I just line these doors up like this to try and minimize wastage of paper. They don't sit next to each other on the cabinet, so a pattern match isn't overly important. Does anyone else find like child-proof locks challenging? Maybe it's just because I'm a child at heart, but especially on this glue one, I just find I really struggle to get it open. I suppose it's my own fault for not clearing the old glue off the cap. Oh, finally. So you just want to lay a fairly generous amount of glue onto the wood, and then just make sure you're going to all the edges so that they stick down. You don't want so much glue that it's just going to pour out the edges, because that would be a waste of your glue, but just enough so that it covers everything. There we go, I'm happy with that. So then I'll just come in, line that up, push it down gently just to position it. Add some glue in this last bit here. And if there's any holes for hardware, you want to make sure you mark those out, otherwise you're not going to find those again once the paper's dried. And for that, I just like to use a mini screwdriver. So now just going in and punching out any holes. Oh, I put that on the wrong way. It should have been the other way around, but that's okay because that side should match. And again, just going in and marking any holes. Right, that looks good. Once I've got all of that laid down, all the holes marked out, I'm just going to take a little card scraper and I just go through and push all of that down, which will get rid of any air bubbles that may collected, and it just makes sure to get a really smooth finish. And with that very sharp blade, I'm going to come in and just slice those edges. And just through that middle. I've got it all done now, so I'm going to leave it overnight to dry and we'll check it out tomorrow. The glue's now had time to dry, and my next step is going to be to take some 280 grit sanding paper and a little sanding mouse, and I'm just going to go round all the edges and sand them flush to get the best finish. And if I notice any edges that are popping up where the glue maybe hasn't gone right to the edge, then I'm just going to use some of my super glue and pop that in just to seal down those corners. Like here, for instance, that corner right there is flapping off. So a little bit of super glue in there and that'll get that right as rain. So and as you can see, that just gives a perfectly flush finish. And if there's any glue that's seeped out, sanding it will also get rid of it. So I'm just see there, I don't know if you can tell, there's just a tiny flap there. So take the glue and just dab. That tiny bit there. And then I'm just going to use that just to hold it down until it sets. Paper's looking really good now. It's all flush to the edge, all secured down. So next step is going to be to take some of that Polyvine heavy duty varnish . Happy Saturday. So I've just been to the boot sale. I haven't been for ages and ages, but I fancied a walk around. So I've just got back from there and now I'm moving on to the next step in this cocktail cabinet. So we've done all the wallpaper. That's all sealed in with the top coat now, looking gorgeous. So now it's a case of putting gold along the edge there. So I like to do it in this order because now the paper's got top coat on it. If I get any gold on there, it's super easy to just wipe away with some tissue. And it doesn't matter if I get gold on the wood because I'm going to sand that one more time before I top coat it with the hard wax oil. So it works really well in this order. So I'm going to go around and add the gold detailing to all the edges, and also on the inside of the bottom doors I'm going to do a diamond stencil to pick up the diamond that's in the paper. So let's crack on with that. So I'll be honest, I'm not 100% happy with that acrylic gold. It's just a bit meh. I don't know. I've used it on another project and it was fine, but on this one it's just not giving me enough glam. So it's like a warm toned yellowy gold, but it also is going to take a couple of layers to get it opaque. And the problem with adding lots of layers on a cabinet like this is it adds millimeters to the edge and then it doesn't close flush like it should. So the fewer layers I can add on the edges, the better, because it is more likely to just close flush as it should. So I am going over to this Mylands metal acrylic paint in rich gold. I love this stuff. This is a beautiful gold paint, super pigmented. It's like one coat, maybe 1.5, and I am going to use that now. So I'm going to treat that other one that I've just done as a bit of it, just like a base coat to seal in the wood. So let's go around and do a coat of that, and then I think that will be enough. That will give me enough gold that I'm looking for. It's just such a beautiful gold, and a little goes such a long way. I mean, that is just beautiful. I love it. This is the stencil that I'm going to be using, which is from Dizzy Duck Designs. I'll have it linked below. But it's this diamond sort of drip pattern. So I'm going to do that on the inside of the doors, and I'm going to do it like a graduated, so it looks like the diamonds are dripping down. So I'm just going to tape that down and go in with my Mylands acrylic paint. So I'm going to start on the edge, and I want that to line up with the top and the side. And I'm just going to fasten it in place with some tape. I've just got a super cheap kitchen sponge here, and I'm going to use that side to sponge the paint on. So I've got my paint there. I'm just going to dip it in. And dab it on. So I don't get a huge amount on my sponge, just a little bit, and then just work that in. And actually, before I go any further, I just want to work out where I want my drips to come down to. So I think I'm going to tape off this bit. And We'll go to the end there and we'll go further down like that. And then the rest will be at least this long and then maybe 1 or 2 more. Oh, I can't make my mind up. Let me do this and see how it looks. If I don't like it, I can add it back in. I'm not happy with some of these. They're a bit splotchy, so I'm just going to take a wipe and wipe that back. And once that's dry, I'll give that a little sand just to remove what gold is left. Moved on to this side now, but I think I need to have even less paint on my sponge. So I've got a paper plate that I can sponge off on, and hopefully that'll do the trick now. So dip into the paint, sponge, 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 get all that excess off. And then go in quite softly. I have a habit of rushing these things, so I think I just need to slow down and take my time. Just gonna pop this tape underneath to stop it from rocking everywhere. Okay, time for the moment of truth. Oh, much better. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's got the definition on it. Perfect. Okay, so that took a minute, but I'm really happy with how it's come out. So now I'm just going to leave that to dry fully before I go in with just a spray varnish top coat. I say that gold is just my favorite. We're on to one of my favorite parts of the project now, which is adding the Fiddy's hard wax oil to the wood, so we can start to really see that wood grain shine. So I'm going to use Fiddy's hard wax oil in satin, and to apply that I'm just using white scouring pad. Now I think this is probably like the equivalent of, I want to say 2000 grit, but I might be wrong, but it just applies it really nicely down into the wood grain. So let's start with our first coat. That first coat is all done now. It's looking really lovely. So I'm just going to leave that to dry fully and cure overnight. And then we can go on with the second coat tomorrow. Okay, so that's everything. Before I let you see the final piece, I will just show you the before again. So let's rewind and show you the before. And here's the after. So let me take you in close and show you what I've done. So as you can see, the outside has been completely refinished. So old varnish stripped off and hard wax oil applied. That's Fiddy's hard wax oil. And we've replaced the handle for something a bit more modern. And then inside we've got this beautiful teal and gold Art Deco wallpaper. It's got the original mirrors. Now there is some loss of silvering on the mirrors, but my client was happy to keep the original mirrors and keep that sort of authenticity to the piece. I've replaced the cocktail picks for slightly more modern ones. All the other fittings are original. And then added this stencil diamond pattern on the outside, which just mirrors the stencil pattern that I've added on the inside of the door. And then that same wallpaper all throughout the bottom. And then I've just installed a motion sensor LED light. So that adheres magnetically, and then you just charge that with a USB cable. And there's that door there. And then just the bottom, I've added that gold detail as well. So there she is in all her glory. And then the sides have just been refinished as well. And those have got that beautiful walnut grain as well. So yeah, super pleased with how this one turned out. If you enjoyed this video and you learned anything, then please consider liking and subscribing. Drop me a comment, let me know what you thought of this project, and consider sharing it with your friends. It just helps to push my channel out to some new viewers and get it in front of more eyes. So thank you again for watching, and I'll leave you with some final beauty shots, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.